Got to make sure everything's working. And then we'll jump right into the show. And if you're a first timer, welcome. Glad you could be here. It's always a lot of fun. And we're going to talk about today, interesting topic, actually. I'm a little excited about today's topic because it validates a lot of the things that I've talked about in the past. So we got John, everything up and running? Good. Okay, there we go. There you go. I get a thumbs up there. Welcome. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. And if you're new to the show, I talk for 24 minutes. You, whatever platform you're on, we're on a lot of different platforms. That's why it takes a second to get everything set up. You can type in any health question you have. It doesn't have to be about the topic we're talking about, any health question. Then, at the end of 24 minutes, I'm gonna answer your questions. Then I'll do another 24 minutes, and then I'll do some more. So it's a great opportunity, in fact, a rare opportunity, for you to actually ask a question and have me answer it. So I'm glad you're here. Our Facebook page was down for a while. It's up. We're streaming on a new Facebook page, right, guys? We've got the old new Facebook page, yeah. So glad you guys are here. And if you missed me, I'm sorry, but it was a Facebook glitch, and we had to fix it, and they fixed it, and we finally got it. And I'll tell you a story someday over a over a Super Greens drink, and we'll go from there. So anyway, 24 minutes questions, 24 minutes questions again. That's how it works. Tell everybody that you're here. Share it with everyone you know. As you know, the shows are great. And wherever you're from, just put in hashtag. If you listen to hashtag live, put in hashtag live. If you're on a hashtag replay, put in hashtag replay, the hashtag symbol. You don't have to write the word hashtag. And then also where you're from. I always like to hear where people are from. It's always kind of fun. So I think I'm ready. John, you ready? Christy, ready? Let's go. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am glad you're with me today. And today, fun show. We can put this in the Dr. Joe was right column. We're going to talk about the link between taking multivitamins and memory and cognitive benefits. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, just loss of memory, having brain shutdowns. I'm seeing it more and more. I've been in practice 40 years. I've seen thousands, tens of thousands of patients between radio, television, books, lectures. We've worked with hundreds of thousands of people. And this is a big issue. Now, you're young and you're thinking, I ain't got this problem. Well, yeah, you will. Okay, if you're average, your chance are your memory's going to decline, and it's going to get worse and worse as time goes on, and it's not fun. And if you've ever been around someone who has memory decline, it can be very aggravating. They get angry because they say, well, I never asked you that question. You said, no, Mom, you asked me that question 3 times. My mom didn't have it, thank God. But a lot of people have. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. And they get angry with you. And they're angry because they're losing their minds. And it's very frustrating because in theory, there's nothing you can do about it. Well, it turns out new studies say there is something you can do about it, which is kind of cool. And as with all health issues, the earlier you address it, the better off you're going to be. You want to get to it early. And that's why no matter who you are, this show today is going to be very relevant to you. So, taking a multivitamin, no T's here, may improve memory and slow cognitive decline in older adults, according to a third major study on the topic. Now, they did a study. It was kind of cool. It's called the Cocoa Supplement and Multivitamin Outcome Study, and it's called Cosmos. And what they were doing, they were determining whether cocoa extract, yes, good old, brown chocolate cocoa extract, with or without standard multivitamins affected the risk of cardiovascular disease and cancer. So they weren't even looking initially at cognitive function, but they found that cocoa can actually be very healthy for you. It's got to be organic, and it's got to just be cocoa. It can't have sugar in it and milk and everything like that. And so they did these studies, and they found some amazing things. Multivitamins linked to slower cognitive decline. Again, they were looking for cocoa, but they added multivitamins to it. They measured overall brain function by looking at the average scores of different tests, including memory, problem solving, and significant benefits. That's the key word there. Significant benefits were found by taking a multivitamin with 3 years of each supplementation, translating into a 60% slowing of decline. Now, if we had a drug, and that drug said we can show that it's going to give you 60% slower decline in memory, I bet you that it would be a big seller. I bet you that if your insurance didn't cover it, you'd take it anyway, and you'd find a way to pay for it because you realize that your mind is something you don't want to waste. And yet here we have something that's extremely inexpensive, very available, and why isn't this making major news? Why isn't this all over the headlines? We found something that slows one of the most expensive problems we have in our society, memory decline. and this is why you're seeing more and more senior housing facilities popping up everywhere, and they have memory centers because people are losing their memory. And it's a real high profit item. They like those patients because you're paying good $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month to take care of mom and dad because their mind is slipping. And it's unfortunate because they really don't do a whole lot there. They just babysit. It's a very expensive babysitter in most cases. I shouldn't say all, but most cases. And there's not a lot being done to change that. Mom's losing her mind, 20 grand a month, put her in a home. You come visit every now and then, mom forgets who you are, and they make their money. And I'm not against that. I'm really not. That's capitalism. What I am against is that there are things that we can do right now to help keep our minds fresh. And because you listen to the show, I consider you guys the elite when it comes to healthcare. We're going to talk about what to do. So, the Cosmo study provides the first evidence from a large-scale, long-term, randomized control trial to suggest that daily use of safe, readily accessible, and relatively low-cost multivitamin mineral supplements has the potential to improve or protect cognitive function in older men and women. So it's a double-blind study. It's very well done, and it's proving that it works. Evidence that people with cardiovascular disease have lower micronutrient levels that multivitamins might correct. So we found that people with cardiovascular disease, heart disease, many times they were deficient in nutrients. So we gave them the multivitamin, and we really don't know now what effect it's going to have on cardiovascular disease. We still have to do more studies on it, but we did find that it helps the brain. Evidence that people with cardiovascular disease have lower levels. Cancer people, same thing. I've been in practice a long time, just not officially double-blind studies, but just from my own experience. I find that the sicker people are, the more nutrient deficient they are. Every now and then, I have a case come in, and they're eating right, they're taking supplements, and they have health issues. And then we got to really dig deep. And sometimes it's something like a root canal. I've had people get a root canal taken out and had an implant put in, and that seemed to help them. Again, this is just my opinion here. I'm not giving you research. This is just from my experience. Sometimes people have acid reflux or heartburn. We adjust their stomach. We pull the stomach away from the diaphragm. They start digesting their food more efficiently, and that helps them get better. Many times chiropractic care steps in. We adjust the spine, open up the nerve supply to the organs, and the body gets better. So we try to put together a whole protocol when a patient comes in to try to get to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms. Researchers estimate taking a multivitamin improved performance by equivalent of 3.1 years of age-related change. That's pretty good. That's a lot of money that you're saving, a lot of quality years that you're getting. More so than the money, it's the quality years that you're getting. I've been around a lot of elderly people, and I have, one patient. She's 89 years old now, and she drives herself, and she's happy, and she goes to dance class all the time, and she's a nice-looking lady, and she's amazing. And I have other people in their 60s that are in wheelchairs going, if I die, I die. And that worries me because I understand the mentality. Don't get me wrong. I get the mentality. If you're sick and there's no hope whatsoever, why am I keep doing this? But so many times there is hope, and nobody ever told you that there's hope. You didn't know that there was anything to do. I've been researching biochemistry, nutrition, and health for 40 years now, more than 40 years. And I learn new things every single day. When I first started in practice, we didn't know about acoustic wave therapy. We didn't know about, stem cells. We didn't know about a lot of the supplements, the methylated versus non-methylated vitamins. And now we do. So we're making progress, but we're still getting sicker and sicker. This generation of children, the first generation ever to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents by 5 years. That's scary. All the progress we've made with MRIs and CAT scans, and we can look inside the brain in 3D models before we do surgeries, and people are living less. So we're doing something wrong, and I think my opinion, is that we have so many more chemicals in our body. I said to a patient the other day, we were talking about changing his diet. He's overweight, he had high blood pressure, diabetes, erectile dysfunction. He wasn't that old. And I said, remember when we were young, how small a grocery store was? You see how big they are now? He goes, I never thought of it like that. I said, most of that bigness is coming from junk food. Ultra-processed food. We talked about that last week. So, yeah, let's stay away from those ultra-processed foods and really go back to what Grandma used to eat. I don't eat meat. I haven't had meat in 38 years, and that's okay. That's my decision. You decide what you want to do. But you said, my grandmother ate meat her whole life, and she lived to be 95. But the meat she ate was different than the meat is today. They didn't have steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, genetically modified food, glyphosate, high fructose corn syrup, monosodium glutamate, additives, dyes, chemicals. So the food was different then. So if we're going to eat, I'm going to go off topic here for a second. If you're going to eat animal products, meat, butter, cheese, yogurt, eggs, ice cream, I'm going to recommend organic only. It's the kind that grandma ate. It doesn't have all the alterations that we've done in modern times. A lot of good things happened with technology, but some bad things did too. We lost some of the good stuff. So anyway, back to vitamins and brain function. Vitamin supplementation, relatively inexpensive, accessible, very few adverse side effects, and might be potentially used for population intervention. I always said this. I always said if everybody in the world took Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, nothing else, just took Super Greens and Essential Source, I think we would see a major shift in our society. Because everybody who takes it says the same thing. Dr. Joe, how come I didn't know about this sooner? Patients get mad at me. One time, especially when COVID was around, we had a distribution issue. We ran out for a couple of weeks. People were mad, yelling at me. I said, listen, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. I don't have it either. I met a patient a while ago said to me, Dr. Joe, I can't afford not to take your supplements. I said, what do you mean you can't afford not to take them? He says, well, I work better. I work harder. My marriage is better. I'm having more fun. I'm sleeping better. I'm losing weight. I have more energy. I'm saving money on food. Why wouldn't I take these supplements? And now another study out saying it can help cognitive function, your brain function. If you don't know what cognitive is, I should really define that. Cognitive is your thought process. Okay? There's also autonomic reactions. My heart's beating right now because of my nervous system and my brain. I don't think about it. It's autonomic or automatic. But cognitive is my thought process. Where am I going to drive to today? Let's do a math problem. How do I work my computer? That's cognition. That's your brain functioning. And that's where we start to see it slip in old people. But when I say old people, I'm an old person now. And I start to think about, wait a minute. That could be happening to me, and I see it happening to people my age, and I see it happening to my friends. Because not everybody does what they should do. I want you to do the things you need to do. So this is really an exciting study. A team of researchers in Oregon State University conducted the study, involved 35 men 68 years or older, and concluded our evidence indicate that many older men could benefit from a daily multivitamin. So my question is, why wouldn't you take a multivitamin? It's so easy. It's so inexpensive. It's easy to obtain. It's good for you. Costs way less than a cup of coffee. Why wouldn't you do it? So those took the multivitamin, multimineral supplements, saw improvement in their blood levels of certain vitamins such as B6, vitamin D, vitamin E, beta-carotene, and showed that supplements could indeed boost the amount of nutrients in the body. So I remember years ago when I first started studying nutrition, I remember, somebody said, all vitamins do is give you expensive pee. That was a famous quote. All vitamins do is give you expensive pee. Well, it depends on the type of vitamin too. Because back then, we didn't understand that some people can't absorb certain vitamins. If you have a flaw, it's called the MTHFR gene. And if the MTHFR gene isn't working properly, you can't methylate your supplements or your food. Now, nothing you eat is used in the form that you eat it in. So, for example, I eat an apple. I don't use that apple. My body has to break it down. Enzymes break it down into carbohydrates, fats, proteins called macronutrients and micronutrients, vitamins, minerals. Then it gets reassembled and gets utilized. So nothing you eat is used in the form that it is. So if you have this genetic flaw where you have trouble methylating or converting into a usable form, now we have a problem. And the big ones we talk about with supplements are B vitamins. If you take, let's say, B12. B12 gives you energy. It helps your brain work better. It's necessary for so many different things. But if you can't convert it into a methylated methylcobalamin, it's called, your body isn't going to work properly. And so a lot of the B supplements out there, B12, for example, are in what's called the cyanocobalamin form. Cyanocobalamin, what do you think cyano means? Cyanide. It has a molecule of cyanide attached to the cobalamin, the B12 molecule. And if you can't break off that cyanide and make it a methyl group, make it methylcobalamin, you can't utilize it. And so many people are peeing out their vitamins because they're not in a usable form. And cyanocobalamin is cheap. And that's why people go, I could buy B vitamins at the big box store. Why should I buy, at the health food store? It's much cheaper. Same thing. B12 is B12. Not necessarily. So we got to make sure you're careful with that. Calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is what a lot of calcium supplements are made out of. Calcium carbonate, not a good form. It can block up your receptor sites. You don't absorb the good forms. Calcium carbonate essentially is chalk. So calcium carbonate, not a good usable form. Calcium citrate, calcium lactate, those are better forms. But again, if you want to, let's say you take calcium for bones, you can't build bones with just calcium. You have to have magnesium, boron, silica, vitamin D, vitamin K2. So you have to have all these other ingredients to make the bone grow. You can't just take calcium. So if you think, well, I should take vitamin C. Vitamin C helps fight colds. True. Absolutely. Helps the immune system. But there's different types of vitamin C. And you got to make sure that you're using the right form. And so ascorbic acid is 1/8 or a fraction of the vitamin C molecule. It doesn't work as well as pure vitamin C. It's okay, but it's not as good as pure vitamin C. So once again, as my grandfather said, and I've quoted him many times, always buy the best. It's always cheaper. Vitamin D, you can take vitamin D2, but vitamin D2 is synthetic. It has to be converted into vitamin D3. And if you take vitamin D3, that one of the things vitamin D does, it absorbs calcium and puts it into the blood system. Vitamin K2 takes it from the blood system and brings it into the bones. So if you're taking vitamin D2 or D3 without K2, you can actually build up calcium in your bones and increase your risk of heart disease. That's why it's so important you understand quality matters. It's so important. And the price difference is minuscule. It's not like you're driving an old beater versus a fancy European import car. It's minor differences. Beta carotene. Had somebody send me a message the other day. They said, Dr. Joe, I want to increase my vitamin A. I said, no, you don't. You want to increase your beta carotene, which converts into vitamin A. Vitamin A by itself can be toxic. Too much vitamin A can be toxic. Beta carotene converts into vitamin A, non-toxic. So do I need vitamin A supplements or beta carotene supplements? Well, of the two, beta carotene is a better choice, especially if you're taking a large amount. If you're taking a small amount, it's not that big a deal. So I read this study, and I got excited because it was showing clearly that it can help brain function, but they didn't go deep enough. And that was my concern. You got to go deep. When it comes to back pain, for example, we talk about digging deeper. You have back pain, take some medication. It's great. Take some ibuprofen. Well, ibuprofen can adversely affect your liver, and ibuprofen can get into your colon and cause the cells in the colon to kind of make gaps between them. And that's called leaky gut syndrome. So the cells in the colon are really packed tight together so nothing gets through the colon into the blood system. But ibuprofen can open up those gaps. And now you get something called leaky gut syndrome. So if I'm in pain and I take ibuprofen, absolutely, I want to get out of pain. But at what cost? Now, I'm not saying don't take ibuprofen. I'm saying what's causing your pain. Chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. Why wouldn't you go to the most effective, least expensive anything in life? Especially when it comes to healthcare. When it comes to healthcare, I want the best doctors there are. I don't care how much they cost. I want the best doctor there is. This is my health. I got one shot at this. This isn't dress rehearsal. I got one shot at keeping my health. I want the best doctors in the world. Well, what if the best doctors were the least expensive doctors? Wouldn't that be cool? And in back pain cases, chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment for most back pain cases. Not all, but most. And that's why in our office, we kind of become the captain of your healthcare ship. You've got health issues. Let's start out chiropractic, nutrition, fix your digestive system. If that doesn't work, we can always, what I call, escalate the care. Maybe we need physical therapy. Maybe we need injections. Maybe we need surgeries. Maybe we need an ablation. Okay, it's called an intercept procedure. Intercept procedure is now saving so many people from back surgery. Because in the past, if you had back pain, it didn't work, chiropractic care didn't work, and injections didn't work, they went ahead and did back surgery and fused your back. Now you have something called the intercept procedure. Fraction of the cost, way less invasive. You're in and out in a couple hours. Works great in many cases. So if you have a health issue, I want to be your doctor. I want you to come see us. Let's do an evaluation. Let's find out what direction is going to be the best direction to go for you specifically. So if you want to make an appointment, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can make an appointment in the Atlanta area. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We can book it usually within a couple of days, sometimes within 24 hours if you need it that fast. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for you, my listeners, to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on a follow-up visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. I don't know anybody doing a fraction of that at any cost. And yet we do it all. And then at that point, we decide what's going to be best. Is it chiropractic? Is it nutrition? Is it going to be a referral? Let's find out. So if you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. We accept all insurances. It depends what your insurance covers. Don't take my words out of context. We accept you. If your insurance doesn't cover it, I can't change that. Get a new insurance. If your insurance stinks, not just me, anybody, don't blame the doctor. If you have bad insurance, don't blame the doctors. The insurance company isn't going to pay. So get yourself a better insurance. Or cash. Many times with deductibles and copays now, it's cheaper to pay cash than it is to use your insurance. I heard my friend Clark Howard the other day on the radio talking about prescriptions. And many times it's cheaper not to use your insurance than it is to use your insurance. Especially if you go to big box stores for the prescriptions. It's cheaper to not use your insurance. Does that make any sense at all? It makes no sense at all. But sometimes that's the case. So drjoe.com, love to see you. Now, the supplement, the multivitamin I recommend is Dr. Joe's Essential Source. It's a powder. And people say, why don't you just put it in a pill? Because you have to take a bunch of pills because there's so much. It's a scoop that you take, and it's a powder. And it's prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin. Chlorella, spirulina we find in super greens. I mix the two together, by the way, super greens and Essential Source. Chlorella and spirulina. Chlorella helps detoxify the liver. Helps pull heavy metals out of the body, has iodine in it. Most of you get zero iodine in your diet unless you're using iodized salt, which is not a good source of iodine. So I want to be your doctor. I want to help guide this little slightly complicated path that you're on to try to get the best supplements for you. Like I said, our B complexes are methylated. We find children with learning disorders. Many times you give them a methylated vitamin, works great. Give them a non-methylated vitamin, they can't use it, it doesn't work. So learning disorders, just all of us, I take B vitamins every day. I take super greens and Essential Source every day. I take vitamin D every day. I take omega-3 fatty acids every day. I've customized a plan for me. I want to customize a plan for you. And it's still less expensive than drinking coffee. So drjoe.com if you want to make an appointment. If you have any questions, send them to me through the website as well, drjoe.com. So ideally, people of all ages should get their nutrition from your food. A supplement is just that. It supplements your diet. It's not instead of a good diet, it's in addition to a good diet. But that being said, I also understand human nature. And human nature is, I want it easy. So at least start taking supplements. Super Green, Essential Source, Vitamin D, B Complex. That would kind of be my starter kit, I guess, if I had to pick one. But there's many more that I would recommend as well. And then when you start feeling better and having more energy and functioning more efficiently, then you start to exercise more. Then you start to have better relationships. Then you start going to work more efficiently, going to the bathroom better love life. Things change when the body's functioning better. I had a young man come in the other day, about 17 years old, and his mother was there, and they said, he's never felt normal. He says, every day I feel dizzy. Every day I feel like queasy. He says, I've never felt normal. I said, let's try my approach. And if I'm wrong, so what? I'm wrong. Really not a lot of harm done. But looking at him, I've seen him metaphorically, thousands of times. And he's excited for the first time in his life. Good-looking kid, young, tall, good-looking kid, and his life stinks. I was at an event the other day, and somebody I work with came up to me, and he said, I heard your show the other day. You were talking about ultra-processed foods. You were talking about constipation. And this guy's a normal-looking guy. I mean, he's thin, he's good-looking, he's young. He says, Doc, I have to plan my whole day around going to the bathroom. I have to plan everything around my bathroom. He says, I have trouble dating. I have trouble going to work. I have trouble doing anything because of my bowel problems. And I always joke about it. Everybody's got bowel problems. Nobody talks about them. And he's comfortable enough to talk with me, of course. And we've helped so many people with bowel problems, gas, bloating, diarrhea, acid reflux, getting to the cause of the problem, not just treating the symptoms. Don't stop taking your medication on anything, blood pressure, cholesterol, whatever it is. Let's get you well enough so you don't need the medication. So if you want to make an appointment, even remotely, drjoe.com. So talking about cognitive function, brain function, your body depends on essential nutrients for growth and development and to maintain your body. Deficiencies in certain vitamins can impact your immunity, your vision, wound healing, bone health, and much, much more. So many of you have conditions of deficiency. And sometimes it's just as simple as taking things like super greens and essential source. Not always, but sometimes. So folks, if you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. If you have any questions, go to my website, drjoe.com. Happy to answer your questions for you. A little bot pops up, says, hey, want to chat? Happy to answer your questions for you. You can search my website. We have over 4,000 hours of content on the website. Just type in the search bar what you're looking for. All the supplements we talk about are available in the store section of the website. We ship the same day or the next day. It says on the website $100 or more free shipping. We've reduced that to $50 for you, my listeners. So drjoe.com is a great source. Folks, I gotta run. I got a lot more to cover. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right. Christy approves. John approves. Let's see if you guys approve now that we're back on our Facebook page again. Yay. Any questions, John?
What is the difference between the sugar in fruits and the sugar in candy and cookies and other sweets?
Well, it depends. Fructose is the sugar that's found in fruit. Glucose is the sugar that we utilize in our bodies. So if you look at table sugar is 50% fructose, 50% glucose. Glucose gets utilized very quickly. Fructose has to be converted into glucose in order to be used. There's fructose in fruit. But the difference is it has other vitamins, minerals, nutrients, fiber, phytonutrients, so it offsets any damage that the fruit sugar has. If you take pure sugar, you're giving up other nutrients from other parts of the body to help process and digest it. And the fiber in the fruit pushes it through the colon so you don't absorb it real quick. Now, fruit juice, not a fan. Too much sugar, not enough fiber. So fruit, okay. Fruit juices and other sugars, not okay, just because of the way they're processed. They don't have other nutrients with it. So, what else you got?
What is the best exercise to lower blood pressure?
Getting your stomach adjusted. I know it's not an exercise, but if the stomach pushes up against the diaphragm, you might have heartburn, acid reflux, but that's going to irritate something called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve also controls blood pressure. So if the stomach is up against the diaphragm, you need to adjust it. Now, if you're looking at the best exercise to control blood pressure, it would be meditation or yoga. Not hard exercises, because that stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, nervous system that speeds you up. You want to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. So yoga, meditation, would be the best thing for that. Doesn't treat the cause, treats the symptoms. So that's why you want to check the nerves to make sure there's no neurological issue why you have high blood pressure. Maybe you're dehydrated. Maybe it's a kidney issue. Maybe your liver's clogged up. When I went to school, if you had fatty liver, you were an alcoholic. Now we find if you have fatty liver, we have fatty liver in 5-year-olds now. It's called non-alcoholic fatty liver. So if the liver is fatty and clogged up, that can put back pressure on the blood, and that can raise your blood pressure. So the best exercise, if you have to pick one, is going to be yoga. So.
What is the best anti-aging vitamin or supplement?
Dr. Joe Super Greens, Dr. Joe Essential Source. People think I'm 15 years younger than I am, and I've been taking that stuff for decades now. And I love it. So, yeah, Super Greens and Essential Source, if I had to pick any one, you asked for one. I would add B-complex to that. I would add vitamin D with K2 to it. I would add omega-3 fatty acids to it. It would help the brain function as well. So that's my anti-aging protocol. And you got to stop speeding up the aging process. So if you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in, so what can I eat? Follow that advice, take the supplements, make sure you get chiropractic care to keep your joints limber, because mobility is youth. And it works. And here's the thing. If what I teach you didn't work for me, I would be doing something else. If meatball sandwiches were better for anti-aging, I'd be eating meatball sandwiches. I'm doing what I know is going to be best for me. And it works. Because if it didn't work, I wouldn't be teaching it. So, what else you got?
I've heard that a touch of Celtic salt before drinking water greatly improves hydration. Is that true?
Yes. That's an easy one. Celtic salt has about, between the study you read, 70 to 90 different minerals in it. We have about 102 minerals in our body, if I have the number right. And so these are minerals that you're just not going to get a lot of other places. So Celtic salt, air-dried sea salt, absolutely should be part of your diet. It's the cheapest supplement you'll ever buy. I mean, don't douse your food in it, but season it with it, yes. What else?
No more questions, but a comment from a listener. Great products saved my life.
Whoever you are, thank you. And you're welcome. All right, ready for part 2? Let's take my tea. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito. If you just joined me, welcome. If you stayed with me, I'm glad you did. We got a lot to cover today. We're talking about a really exciting topic, a topic that I've followed for a long time, is can multivitamins actually help brain function? And the answer is a resounding yes. I don't like to talk too much about myself, but I will. People ask me all the time, said, how does your brain work? How do you able to handle questions? Because I've given lectures to thousands of people, live lectures, and I take questions from the audience, live lectures. I've had many people say, listen, Doc, I listened to your show on the radio, and I stop my car, and I'm late for meetings. Or I plan my day around your shows because there's so much information. And I love when patients say, other doctors never taught me any of this. Well, I understand. One of the reasons my brain works so well is I take supplements every day. Super Green Essential Source, nitric oxide to open up the blood vessels to my brain. I love that one. B vitamins, brain function, omega-3 fatty acids for brain function, vitamin D. So I take supplements every day, and I eat a good diet. But I have a traumatic brain injury. I was hit by a car when I was 10 years old, and I was dead. They left me on the side of the road. I wasn't dead, obviously. They left me on the side of the road, and this is way before cell phones, so I don't know how the ambulance ever found me. And when they finally moved me, apparently it was quite a while afterwards that I was dead. There was no rush. I moved. And they said, I guess he's not dead. So I have a severe traumatic brain injury. I was in a coma for 4 or 5 days. So even with a severe traumatic brain injury, which, by the way, never goes away. Traumatic brain injuries are always there. You manage them, but they never go away. Even with that, and then I played football and hockey, causing multiple more concussions, which was really stupid, causing more brain damage. So why does my brain work as well as it does? Because I take care of it. You see antique cars on the road. They run great. Why is that? They were taken care of. So I want you to take care of your brain. It works really well. Somebody asked me, what's the best vitamin for anti-aging? Well, Super Greens and Essential Source is the starting kit. It works really well. So I'm a big fan of supplements, obviously, and because it keeps me around. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for supplementation. So if you think you're missing out on important vitamins in your diet, eat better, eat more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. But I would strongly advise you do take a multivitamin. Make sure you get a quality one. You can go to the big box stores and get them cheap. They're probably not methylated. They're probably in calcium carbonate. They're probably cyanocobalamin. They're forms that are cheaper but don't work nearly as well. So Dr. Joe's Essential Source is a powder. That's the multivitamin I take every day. Sometimes I take twice a day. If I have a really busy day, if I have like radio and then television or I have other things going on, lectures coming up, I'll take a second dose of Super Greens and Essential Source. Not every day. I don't want you overdosing. But every now and then it's okay to give yourself a little boost. And the nitric oxide I mentioned too. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation to your brain, your heart, your sex organs. I told a story the other day. One of my coworkers at the radio station came up to me and says, listen, Doc, I love your Super Greens and Essential Source, man. It's changed my life. And he's my age, I guess, maybe a little older. And he says, and the nitric oxide, he goes, my wife thanks you. So it really helps men with circulation areas and women too. So those are great. Other supplements. Let's talk a little bit more about other supplements. Glutathione became a big supplement in my world when COVID hit. Because one of the things that we found with the COVID virus is it got into the mitochondria of the cell. Now, in the cell is lots of mitochondria. And the mitochondria generate electricity, and they do thousands of chemical reactions every second. And the mitochondria, the virus will get into the mitochondria and weaken the mitochondria so that the virus can replicate itself. That's what we think. That's a working assumption at this point. Again, science changes. But the mitochondria, and that's why so many people got weak when they got COVID, we believe. This is the working hypothesis at this point. But again, thousands of chemical reactions every second to generate electricity and keep you alive. And in addition to producing electricity, the mitochondria generate something called free radicals, waste products, as a byproduct. These free radicals can actually turn around and then damage the mitochondria. So you have to neutralize those free radicals that the mitochondria is producing to generate electricity. And the best supplement we know of for that is called glutathione. Glutathione, oral glutathione supplementation is amazing. Now, free radicals increase, they're so abundant out in our society, and they have heavy metals, volatile organic compounds, pesticides, herbicides, pharmaceuticals, other toxins. These free radicals accelerate the cellular aging, and the energy that the mitochondria makes drops, and you become weaker. You become older. And that's one of the things we see as you get older, you lose muscle mass. You lose about 1% of muscle mass per year after the age of 40. And in the muscle itself has a ton of mitochondria. So as you lose muscle mass, you're losing the place where the mitochondria live. You're losing the mitochondria. And so the mitochondria gets weaker. So antioxidants, things like glutathione, serve as a balancing force that combats these free radicals in our bodies. And there's different types of antioxidants. There's alpha-lipoic acid, there's vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. But the antioxidant that stands above all of them, the master antioxidant they call it, is called glutathione. Now glutathione, you make glutathione. Glutathione is produced in what's called the cytoplasm of every cell. That's inside the cell, like the fluid inside the cell. And it helps recycle and recharge other antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E. So you use up a little vitamin C, the waste product is then recharged and sent back into the cell to do its job again. And so glutathione does so many different things. We learned that too with COVID and melatonin. Melatonin we always thought was just for sleep. Well, it turns out that melatonin is the security guard around the mitochondria. It protects the mitochondria. And so if we don't produce enough melatonin, it can adversely affect the body's ability to fight off attacks on the mitochondria. And so we learned this, that some people with COVID, we gave them mega doses of certain nutrients, and like melatonin, and it helped reverse some of the effects of it. Now, I'm not a big fan of taking mega doses of melatonin because if you have a lot of it in a supplement form, your body stops making its own. And so that's a problem. But anyway, that's a whole nother lecture on sleep and melatonin, serotonin, digestion. But we know that glutathione works real well, and it does so many different things. So another supplement I take every single day is Dr. Joe's glutathione. And I take it every day. And especially, folks, if you're taking medication, even something as simple as ibuprofen or serious medications, high blood pressure, diabetes, birth control pills, I strongly advise you take glutathione. I had some dental work done the other day, and I needed some, Novocaine injected, and that's a medication. So I doubled up on my glutathione dose for a couple of days, and that helped my body fight off the effects of the Novocaine. But if you're taking medication, I'm begging you, please take glutathione. Years ago, when I first started lecturing and teaching, my thought process was that if you ate a good diet, you probably didn't need supplements. It was a luxury. If you could afford it, it was good to take. Well, my opinion has changed dramatically since then. I don't believe supplements are a luxury anymore. I believe supplements are a necessity. But the quality of the supplements is what makes a difference. And this, if you listened earlier, we talked about all the studies out that multivitamins can help with cognitive function, help slow down the decline of brain function. Well, that was just taking supplements. They also added cocoa in there too. That was, again, if you listened earlier, I explained why. But they didn't talk about stopping the things that are causing the damage. They didn't talk about making some dietary alterations. Maybe cutting back on things like alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. Typical American diet. What if we cut back on them? I'm not even asking you to cut it out. Maybe if one meal a day you ate something healthy. What if every day you had a salad? A lot cheaper than a hamburger. And you can get organic lettuce, you can get organic tomatoes, you can get avocado, you can get a cucumber. I just had that the other day. And it's so filling, and it's really tasty. And if you don't know what salad dressings to make, in the first book I ever wrote called Eating Right for the Health of It, I have a whole chapter on nothing but salad dressings. Because I know salads are important. Now, I don't want you to eat salad every day. You don't have to have it every meal. I get that. It can be boring. But shake it up a little bit. And get those raw foods in your body. Get those nutrients in the body. Take super greens and essential source. Take the nitric oxide. Don't take nitric oxide, by the way, if you have low blood pressure. Only for people with high and normal blood pressure. And I feel great when I take nitric oxide. I can't take it at night. I've tried it. I can't sleep. I have too much energy. And so nitric oxide is amazing. If I was Grand Poobah of all healthcare, I would definitely say, folks, one of the reasons you have high blood pressure is low nitric oxide in many cases. Let's get you on a nitric oxide supplement. Now, you see commercials for like beet powders and things like that. Those have nitrates in it, which convert into nitric oxide, and they work pretty well. But I like Dr. Joe's nitric oxide. It's in a concentrated form, and I've tried both. And I find the nitric oxide in a concentrated form, citrulline it's called, works way better. get a much better impact, a bigger bang for your buck, because a lot of those powders can be very expensive. So anyway, it's on the website, drjoe.com. It's in the store section. So bottom line with this, many ways to support antioxidant status and overall immune health, but oral glutathione supplements clinically demonstrated to be bioavailable, relatively inexpensive, very few side effects. Why not take them? Supplementation not only increases levels of master antioxidant, but in turn supports the immune system to elevate something called NK cell activity. What's NK cell activity? NK stands for natural killer cells. Yes, it really stands for natural killer cells. And those are the part of the immune system that help fight off disease. They're natural killers. They kill off the bad guys. So glutathione not only helps with antioxidants and the mitochondria, it can actually help stimulate the production of natural killer cells, NK cells. So why wouldn't you do that instead of drinking an $8 cup of coffee? It's a whole lot cheaper to do this than it is anything else. So you can't give me an argument. Give me an argument. They're less expensive. They're very effective. Can help with brain function. Can help with increased circulation. We're talking about nitric oxide. Vitamin D can help absorb calcium. Vitamin K2 takes the calcium out of your blood into the bones. Omega-3 fatty acids, absolutely necessary for brain function. Let's talk about that for a second. If you have an omega-3 deficiency, and most people do, by the way, because omega-3s are what's called an essential fatty acid. That means you have to get it from an outside source. Most of us don't get enough omega-3 fatty acids. We get plenty of omega-6 fatty acids, which are necessary in small amounts, toxic in large amounts. Most of us get tons of omega-6s, very few omega-3s. In fact, the omega-3 ratio to omega-6 should be 1-to-1, 1 omega-3 to 1 omega-6. It's okay to have 5 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. Many people get 20 and 30 omega-6 molecules to 1 omega-3. That's a very dangerous ratio right there. That speeds up the aging process. It damages the mitochondrial cells. It damages the cell walls. It beats up your immune system. Speeds up the aging process. I mean, omega-6s are so bad. Way worse than sugar. Everybody talks about sugar being bad. Sugar is really bad. Omega-6s are a lot worse. Dry skin. Omega-3s keep everything in your body lubricated. So without proper level, you may notice an increase in dry skin. That also goes for other lubricated areas of the body. This is a family show. I'll keep it clean. So if that's an issue, it could be an issue with omega-3s. Joint pain. Omega-3s produce anti-inflammatory response in the body, and the joint stiffness related to inflammatory reactions like rheumatoid arthritis might be, or oftentimes is related to an omega-3 deficiency. If your knees, your shoulders, your joint hurts, take some omega-3s and see what happens. And what I tell people with supplements is this. You got to give it about 30 to 60 days. It's not going to happen overnight. If I take an ibuprofen or an acetaminophen and I have a headache, my headache goes away. But there's negative side effects. Supplements take a little time to see the change. And what most people do with supplements is when they notice when they stop taking it. Because the improvement is slow. It's a gradual improvement. But then what happens is they run out. You know, when COVID came, we had a distribution issue with Super Greens and Essential Source. No problem anymore, by the way. And people were upset when they didn't take it. They missed me when I was gone, the supplement said. So, yeah, omega-3s are absolutely necessary. I take omega-3s every day. I take 1 gram a day. The bottle of Dr. Joe's omega-3 says take 1 pill a day. I take 2 pills a day. It's okay to take more, but it's so important to the omega-3 fatty acids. Circulating levels of omega-3s are linked to severe fatigue. A diet that includes omega-3 supplementation, omega-3 rich foods can really help with that. Insomnia. 2001 journal Nutrients found that better sleep quality and duration was associated with higher levels of omega-3. Brain fog. Omega-3s are highly tied to cognitive function and memory. Again, we talked about brain function again, but it can support overall health, aging, and other things as well. So what we're finding is that many people are deficient in omega-3s. So today can get a little complicated, what we're talking about today. But to kind of, and I got more to cover. Don't worry, I'm not wrapping it up here. But at least Super Greens an essential source, a multivitamin. Vitamin D, absolutely. In fact, whenever I test patients, unless they take a vitamin D supplement or they have a job where they work outside, everybody's deficient in vitamin D. And you want to make sure you take vitamin D3 with vitamin K2 because vitamin D3 does a lot of things. And as we said earlier, helps you absorb calcium. K2 takes it out of the blood and into the bones. If you take D3 without K2, you can build up calcium inside your heart and it can lead to heart disease. So So Super Green, Essential Source, Vitamin D, B Complex. I can do 5 shows on B Complex. B vitamins are so important, and many times we can't utilize them if they're not in the right form. They got to be in methylated form. So I take a B complex every day. Now, Essential Source has B vitamins in it. I take the extra B vitamins. Now, the nice part is about B vitamins, if you don't use them, you pee them out. So you're okay there. You're not going to overdose. I mean, if you take a bottle of it, I guess you'd overdose. But yeah, pretty simple. And then nitric oxide, that's my third favorite supplement because you feel it. Nitric oxide, you take it in a couple of half hours or so, you're going to feel it. But nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels, increases circulation. It improves oxygen delivery to every cell in the body. It expands the blood vessels. It improves overall circulation. Lowers the risk of plaque accumulation. I'll give you a list here. Aids in preventing blood clots. Helps to regulate blood pressure. Improves erectile dysfunction. Raises the effectiveness of your workouts. Critical to neurotransmitter function, and helps prevent cognitive decline. Why wouldn't you take that? If you have low blood pressure, don't take it. That's a contraindication. But normal or high blood pressure, absolutely. So every patient that comes in our office, and I've been doing this for about 40 years now, is we put together a plan for them. And the plan usually has 3 phases. Number 1 is making sure you're getting the right nutrients. Number 2 is making sure you can absorb your nutrients. I had a patient come in the other day, digestive problems, acid reflux, very common. He said, Doc, I had some x-rays done at the gastroenterologist. He says, my whole bowel was filled up with gas, and that wasn't normal. He says, but after you guys adjusted me the other day and pulled the stomach away from the diaphragm, he says, my gas is a lot better. He says, why is that? I said, well, gas is formed when food is in your stomach, passes into your small intestine, partially digested, and essentially it rots. And it rots and it creates gases. Like when things rot, they create gases. And he said what so many patients have said to me over the years. Why didn't anybody ever tell me that sooner? I've spent my entire life suffering. I've had colon endoscopes and colonoscopies, and I've taken pills and antibiotics, and I've been to doctor after doctor. How come nobody else ever told me this? And I have an answer that doesn't impress people very much. The answer is I don't know. I've studied for every day for 40 years now. And the reason I study, I'm going to be honest with you, is for me. I'm my number 1 patient. I want to make sure I'm getting the best possible care for myself, my family, my friends, and of course you, my patients. So if you'd like to make an appointment to come see us, if you want, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. That's the Atlanta area. Go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. And you can book it right online, book whatever office you want to, whatever doctor you want to, myself included. We can get you in usually the same day, the next day, certainly within a week. It depends what your insurance covers, but if your insurance covers us, we accept it. We'd have to check your specific policy. There's only really 3 major insurance companies, so we'd have to check your specific policy. If you're ever in a car accident, please, folks, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way, and I don't want you getting scammed. There are so many scam lawyers and scam doctors out there. It breaks my heart. People go, they get these big, huge bills, 10, 20, 30, 50, $100,000 bills, and the settlement comes, and the patient says, Doc, I'm not better. And the attorney says, well, I don't care. This is all the policy is. This is policy limits. That's all we're going to get, they call it. Now, you can sue for bad faith. If a good attorney will do that. But anyway, come see us. Let us be the captain of your ship. Let's direct you. I'm not saying all doctors and all lawyers are bad, but I know the ones that are good and the ones that aren't. So drjoe.com. We'd love to see you. Bring your kids. We have cash plans available. We have financing, 18 months without interest. We use something called Care Credit. We'll do everything we can within reason to try to get you the best possible care. So drjoe.com, we'd love to see you. Follow me on social media. It's Dr. Joe Esposito, all one word. We'd love to have you follow us. We post every single day. So if you like this, you're going to get little 1-minute tips every single day. Absolutely free. Sign up for our newsletter. It's on the website, drjoe.com. Absolutely free. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. I don't give out your email address to anybody. You don't like me on social media? Unfollow me. We have between everything, coming up on 1 million followers across all platforms. Why wouldn't you want to be part of that? Why do you think 1 million people around the world listen to this? Because it works. So drjoe.com, we'd love to see you. Make it a point. If you have any questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. I'm happy to answer your questions for you. The supplements, it's in the store section. We ship usually the same day or the next day. It's not hard to do this, folks. And here's the thing. if you really do make the dietary changes, you start taking supplements, you're going to, most cases, save money because you're going to work harder, make more money. The good food, healthy food is a heck of a lot cheaper than bad food. You're going to save money, probably live longer, probably have more energy, probably have a better love life. We have a whole protocol, by the way. Gentlemen with ED, we have a natural protocol for ED. We use something called acoustic wave therapy, which breaks up scar tissue, increases circulation, grows new blood vessels. We give you home therapies to do. We get you on nitric oxide. We check the nerve supply to the area. And in most cases, it's usually only about 3 or 4 visits, sometimes 5 if it's bad. We can get to the cause of the ED, not just treat the symptoms. No pills, no drugs, no surgery, all natural. So if you just type ED in my search bar on my website, there's a little quiz that pops up. Answer the questions. It will come to me directly. It's not going to go to my staff or anyone. The email is going to come to me directly. I will reach out to you to determine if we think you're a candidate or not. And we'd love to. And it's a fraction of a cost of what everybody else charges. So drjoe.com for ED, for chiropractic, nutrition, acid reflux, digestive issues, brain function. I want to be your doctor. I want to get you well and keep you well. So I got sidetracked there with omega-3s. Mood swings. Because your nervous system and your brain are comprised of fat, our body needs omega-3 fats to help brain signals. Feelings, thoughts, commands, how to move smoothly, how to make your body function normally, how to react properly in normally, I guess, society norms in certain social situations. We need those omega-3s to make the brain work, and they're essential. You have to get them from an outside source. Same thing with depression. One study suggests that lower omega-3s may predispose somebody to depression. One theory is that because the brain relies heavily on fatty acids to function, the lack of them may contribute to the development of depression. So if somebody calls you a fathead, they're right. Our body is loaded with cholesterol. In fact, there are studies out now that if you're on cholesterol-lowering medications, you increase your risk of cognitive decline, Alzheimer's and things like that, because you need cholesterol for the brain to work. Now, if you have high cholesterol, that's a problem. It's not necessarily cholesterol floating around in the blood that's the problem. It's the cholesterol stuck to the artery walls. So you want to get a test called a homocysteine test. And a homocysteine test will determine how much inflammation there is in the body and oftentimes how much cholesterol stuck to the artery walls. A good study is a calcium study. You can do these tests. We don't do them, but there are places that do full-body calcium studies, and they kind of put you in basically like it's kind of like almost like an MRI machine, and they look for calcium plaque buildup. Those are great. I had mine done a while ago. It was 0. Thank you. But that only tests the hard calcium. You got to be worried about the soft calcium too. So that's why it's important to understand things like nitric oxide. I take digestive enzymes every time I eat a cooked meal because digestive enzymes help break down my food more efficiently, and it also can break up plaque as well. Now, it's not going to be the cure for hardening the arteries, but most hardening the arteries, plaque, arteriosclerosis, whatever you want to call it, is caused by diet, and most cases is reversible by diet. And back to the omega-3s, again, I take omega-3 supplements every day. Can lower triglyceride levels, and eating foods rich in omega-3s are great. Now, what's rich in omega-3s? I don't like the fish. Fish are high in omega-3, but it's not a good choice because many times it has mercury in it. Krill is a good choice, but algae is the purest form of omega-3, and that's the type that I take every single day, and it's on the website, Dr. Joe's Omega-3. So, folks, I'm almost out of time. If you have any questions, send it to me through the website. I gave you a lot of information today, drjoe.com. If you want to make an appointment, if you want to ask questions, you want to get the supplements, you want to just search my website. Just search it, search bar in there. We got tons of information there. Follow me on social media. It's Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. If you go on YouTube, you can see my pretty face on all of them, actually. So, but it's a great source of information. Again, I want to be your doctor. I want to get you well and keep you well. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, drjoe.com. Talk to you soon. All right. That was a lot. Man, a lot of chemistry thrown out there. John, any questions?
What are your thoughts on mushroom coffee? What is your opinion and beliefs on the claims that it helps with focus, digestion, energy, etc.?
I like it, and I think there is some validity to it. So, yes. I've drunk it, and I like it. So, I'm good with it.
What are the 3 supplements you would take with you if you're on a desert island?
Super Greens, Essential Source. On a desert island, I won't need omega-3s. I take B-complex. So Super Green, Essential Source, and B-complex. And I'd be getting lots of sun, so I'd be getting a lot of vitamin D, and the sun can help produce nitric oxide as well, so I wouldn't need nitric oxide or vitamin D. So that's why.
What are the times throughout the day that you take your supplements?
I take them first thing in the morning, and the reason is I forget. Well, I don't forget. I get busy. So I have them on my counter in my kitchen. And actually, I have them in a little basket. It's kind of funny. If you ever came to my house, and I may do a video on this, I have them in a basket, and I take them out of my pantry. I put them on a kitchen counter, take my supplements. I take the Super Greens and Essential Source. I take a scoop of each. I put it in a jar. I shake it up with coconut milk, almond milk. I add my vitamin D to that as well and shake it up. And that's how I start every single day of my life. So I take it first thing in the morning. Now, some of them, if you're in this is maintenance mode. I'm in maintenance mode by now. Sometimes, if you're on more than maintenance mode, we may give you throughout the day. May take a couple of them throughout the day. But Super Green Essential Source is once a day unless it's an emergency. So, and vitamin D as well, and B complex. So, what else you got?
That is all.
You guys are awesome. Thanks, guys. Please follow me on all platforms at Dr. Joe Esposito. Please do that as a favor to me. I give you all this information. You got to give back. That's how the world works. Just follow me. If you don't like it, unfollow me. So I will talk to you soon. Hopefully.